Well, hey everybody, Patrick Batty Pickleball today, and we're back with another one of our podcasts. This, I believe, is episode 16. So we've been at this about 4 months. Want to welcome you today. Again, I am by myself. Mark is just wrapping up his 2-week vacation. We've got a lot of interesting little topics today. I don't think it will be all that long being by myself. And I am somewhat rushed myself because of some news I'll break to you a little bit later on in the podcast. But we're going to talk about today a little bit about winners on this weekend, past weekend's pro tours, both in Canada and the United States. Some new paddles from Selkirk, SLK Halo line. A little bit about Selkirk kind of hitting back at the UPA, which is the PPA tour, about the paddles that have been approved by them for EULA. And also I wanted to fill you in a little bit more about the Dink and Drink event we had this past weekend. So with that said, I'm not going to worry about intro music today. I'm just here. I just want to welcome you again. Thank you for joining, and I hope we have a good time. First of all, for those of you who are new here, it's Pickleball Today. We cover both Canadian and U.S. pickleball, both amateurs and pros. We cover paddles, gear, tips. Generally, I'm not the person giving tips. Mark Bittorf, my co-host, is, and again, he's away this week. So we won't be doing that today. But it's been a busy week all around. The PPA tour has just been on a relentless spell of tours week after week after week. They just finished the other day. And some interesting developments on that. The last tournament they played was Salt Lake City. They played indoors. And it's an indoor tournament. You find Ben Johns doesn't like playing it, though, so he did not play as well. Catherine Parento didn't play. Allie Waters didn't play, and a few others. So some of the very top players did not, but others did, like James Ignatieff, Anna Bright, people like that. However, the big surprise of the weekend, well, maybe not a surprise, but a developing player, an incredibly good developing young player, was Gabe Tardio. Gabe is like 18, 19 years old, a fairly tall, thin, lanky guy, but slight of build, and yet powerful as all get out, and a wonderful pickleball player. And he won gold both in doubles and mixed doubles. And that's really all I'm covering today is the people who had double gold and anything. So Gabe won gold both in men's doubles with Andre Diescu. We've heard of Andre a lot over the last year. There was a controversy with his paddle a number of months ago, and he was expelled for a few months. He's back now. It wasn't to do with the paddle manufacturer or maker. It was they thought there was foreign substance on the paddle back when he was suspended. But Andre's back, playing really well, hasn't lost a step at all. So again, Gabe won doubles with Andre Diescu, and he won mixed doubles with Jesse Irvin. And Jesse has not won mixed doubles, I'm not sure if ever, but certainly not in a while. So Gabe, again, was proved to be a force this past weekend on the PPA tour. The tour is now off to Las Vegas this weekend. We'll again, naturally at this time of year, be playing indoors at Las Vegas as well. Bit of controversy there. They had trouble with their indoor court. It was a rollout court. It wasn't pickle roll. I don't know off the top of my head the brand, but it was put down on a floor that wasn't perfect underneath, and it needs a really perfect floor underneath to do it. So they're rectifying that this week at the PPA in Las Vegas. But that meant there were dead spots and people complaining and things like that. Anyway, the tour wrapped up, Gabe, with 2 gold medals. Now in Canada last week, we had our Myoflex Canadian Championships, Canadian Nationals in Halifax, Nova Scotia last weekend. And here the notable player, again, a lot of great performances, but the notable player was friend of ours, person we've talked about before and met, wonderful player, Christina Chin. Christina's out of Richmond Hill. I believe she plays at High Sport as well, or coaches at High Sport. If I'm not mistaken, High Sport in Oshawa. But Christina won gold in singles, doubles, with women's doubles with Kim Layton, and in mixed doubles with Hat O'Toole from Western Canada. So incredible performance by Christina as well. Matthew Kawamoto had a couple golds as well. Anyway, it was just a really good weekend. When I don't know if I mentioned Christina's doubles partner was Kim Layton, again from Western Canada, and again mixed was Hat O'Toole. So Christina with a big win. Christina's very active on social media. If you want to follow her and get a kick out of what she posted, she's just wonderful at it. She's a very engaging, high energy person as well as a great player. Her Instagram account is Pickleball on Ice, at Pickleball on Ice. And so I invite you to check her out if you're on Instagram. I am on Instagram. I honestly don't use it too much, but some of my Facebook stuff automatically goes over there. And once we get a little bit bigger and I have somebody else helping with some things on socials, we'll do more over there. I think it's important for us. Now, want to mention our paddle giveaways. Again, we gave one away 2 weeks ago. We gave one away last week as well. The player who won last week has sent me a photo. I'll post it on our Facebook page for Pickleball Today. She sent me a photo with her paddle. She really liked it. Player won. She won 2 weeks ago, and the one who won last week, waiting to hear. It's been shipped to him. I assume he has it by now as well. But our paddle giveaways are still active. And next paddle, I'm not sure what the next paddle we'll be giving away is. But we will be giving away one, and the contest is still open for everybody, whether you've entered before, entered again, whatever. You're welcome to. Just go to pickleballtoday.co/win and enter there. You put your email in, you confirm that email. If it's already in, it will not go in multiple times. But by doing that confirmation, you will then get also a notification on how to get even more chances to win. Now, we're not a massive, we don't have a massive audience yet. We're working on it. And even with your help, it will get bigger. But at this point, it's not massive. So your chances of winning are not that bad. So I do advise anybody who listens, please go win a paddle, because we're talking, most of these paddles are in the $189. The last two have been $249 list price. Giving them away, all we ask people to pay is shipping. So far, that's been like $25, $30. So, so it's well worth the time. It'll take you a minute or two, maybe a few minutes if you want extra, seconds if you just put in your email, but a few minutes if you do the things it asks, which is sharing, liking, subscribing to our podcast and things like that. And you get a lot today. Now, I've been a Selkirk advocate. I do use Selkirk paddles in the training that I'm doing. I've been doing beginner training, but we've got 3 new paddles in from Selkirk. I'm hoping they're showing up. I just want to double check our camera, see how it's looking. Yeah, they're showing up very nicely. 3 new paddles. This is their revised Halo line. These are their mid-range paddles. These typically sell for off the top. It's $189 in Canada. It might be $130 or something like that in the US. I can't remember off the top of my head. And I know we have a lot of US listeners. We don't sell them, but we use them for training. You can buy these pretty much anywhere you can buy pickleball products. These 3 paddles, I'm not going to get into the details about them, but we will be doing some play testing with them. But one is a Kevlar paddle. This is called the Pro. It's a 14 millimeter extended length paddle. Kevlar, kind of like a ruby up there, different shape than the ruby though. Nice size handle, an extended length handle. Again, Kevlar tends to be a bit forgiving, but a longer handle also gives you a little bit more speed with it. If you're strong enough to do it, I mean, speed at the end of it. The wide bodies, you can actually flick them a little bit quicker, really, I think. Anyway, that's Kevlar paddle. The next one is their Power paddle. This is a 13 millimeter thermoform carbon fiber. So you can see that finally, Selkirk's getting on the carbon fiber and now Kevlar train as well. Like the other companies, they've been a little slower on that, but they also are the biggest company in pickleball, so they obviously know a little bit about what they're doing with all their other paddles too. So this one's the Power XL. This you'll see a lot of pros are playing this one, and I've also seen a lot of pros are playing this one. This is the Control 16 mil one. So Control a little bit softer, another type of carbon fiber, and these all come in different kind of little different colors and things like that too. This feel I can even feel how that's a bit more forgiving than the Power one. So that Power one's for the people that want to hit hard. This will be a little softer one. These all, as I said, sell for about $189 in Canada, probably $130 or something like that in US. Again, I don't have a discount code. Selkirk ambassadors in Canada actually can't sell the products. So it makes it a little bit awkward, but we love the support that Selkirk has given us from day one. And they honestly have been incredibly supportive. So we keep using these for some of the training we do, and but we also show some of the other paddles as well. So that said, let me see what else we have cooking. Thank you, Selkirk. Again, feel free to subscribe, like, follow our podcast. Or you can listen to the podcast on any podcast player you have. It's called Pickleball Today, the pod. And again, any type of following you do or commenting you do helps the algorithms spread the podcast out to a further audience. So we would appreciate the help as well. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the fun I had this past weekend, and then tell you a little bit about what's coming up for me as well. I mentioned last week in the podcast we're in a tournament, involved in a tournament called a Dink and Drink, and I didn't really know much about it. I said it sounds like we're going to play pickleball and then we're going to have some cocktails or something. Well, no, that was not the case. There's a lot more to a Dink and Drink, and I want to first of all thank Lisa Marie Cormier and Brett Cormier, who hosted this tournament. This was basically players here around Cambridge, Ontario, but I know some came from Niagara region and some came from Oshawa, and we had a lot of people there. They had 40 players entered in the tournament. There were a bunch of people that were waitlisted that still came to enjoy the day. Brett and Lisa have put in a professional level pickleball court, but we also had 4 temporary courts on. Brett has a fairly large size outdoor asphalt area, 4 courts there, and also put in one indoors in an area that they have as well. And so there was a lot, and that was for the evening players after the tournament was over. And people did stay. But what was the Dink and Drink? How did it work? Basically, we had 8 teams, and this is a dinking only pickleball match and tournament. Dinking only. So instead of standing back at the baseline and serving, you literally are standing at the kitchen line and dinking the ball diagonally over the net to start the match. Okay? And the entire game is dinking. Goes to 11. You're only allowed to dink. You can't hit a volley in it. You can't hit anything but a dink. And when you dink, it has to go into the kitchen. So it meant incredible practice for dinking for people. And what it also did is it leveled the playing field between, what are traditionally our bangers and power players and our average Joes that have been learning dinking and, kind of playing a little bit of a softer game. So it was really good fun. And it meant that, some of the women are pretty powerful players, but some also don't like to play against power players. So it really leveled the match between men and women, as well as power and control type players. Just meant everybody had a great opportunity as long as you knew how to dink. And it went really, really well. So the format of this, in case any of you want to do it, is what they had is 8 teams. You'll do whatever you can get registered. We played. Teams had 5 people, so it was 5 people in which you're putting on 2 at a time, naturally. They played men's doubles, women's doubles, and mixed doubles, and they did that series 3 times. Then they put on their best, or what the team decided who they wanted on for the 7th match. And in that case, they could pick any 2 players they want. So it didn't matter. Might have been somebody who didn't play much. It might have been the best 2 players on the team. So we played 7 rounds, and then we went into semifinals and finals. And again, it was a real mix of players that got into the semis. And then the semis went, off the top of my head, 1 match against, it was, team number 1 versus 4, team number 2 versus 3. Again, it went to 11. Now, in that one, I can't remember if they had to win by 2 or not. In the other matches, though, to keep on a tight time frame, they didn't. It was literally first team to 11. The semis went with those 4 teams, and then we went to a finals, and the finals were a best of 3 matches. And again, with the 2 teams that came out of the semis. It ended up in the finals. It was a bit of a surprising event because we had 2 great teams, but the one team won 2 matches in a row to crown the champion. So that's what a Dink and Drink was. And believe it or not, after all of that pickleball, and the Cormiers also put on a wonderful meal with lasagna, homemade lasagna, and salads and things like that. Everybody brought their own beverages, and just did a great job. There was some nice women that were handling registration. I actually, because I couldn't play, did the announcements to keep things moving, and a little bit of courtside announcement as some matches were going on when we got into the semis and semifinals, really to get the scores out loud so people could talk. And then we had player introductions. The 2 teams came up with intro music for walk-on music for their team as we introduced the players on the teams as well. So it was just a great, great time, and I just highly, highly recommend it. So we got to thank the Cormiers again for what they did.
Hi there, this is Christina Chin, also known as Pickleball and Ice. You're here with Pickleball Today, Canada's national pickleball news source.
Now, final topic. I was thinking I was going to do this earlier, and I missed it. If you listen to any other podcasts, this pickleball podcast, you'll hear about Selkirk hitting back at UPA and the PPA about their approval of paddles. And this has been a bit of a mess for a while, and UPA, who owns the PPA, come up with their own standards. But UPA kind of pulled something that they approved a EULA paddle that was effectively like the Gen 3 that was banned by the US APA. But they had said they were going to come out with the standards, what clubs had to do or companies had to do to, what standards they could put their paddles up to. In other words, how much flex, how much power, things like that, how much grit. And they didn't seem to do that, but they magically approved this EULA paddle. And I have nothing against EULA, but it was a bit of an odd thing that UPA did. So it meant they had their new kind of quote Gen 3 paddle they're having it in tournaments right now. It definitely was in the PPA tournament. It looked like it may have even been in the Canadian Championships, but I'm not 100% sure. I didn't see videos of those tournaments. I only saw the leaderboards. And I saw a couple images, though, with players, getting their medals and things like that. So it may have been there, but I don't want to speak wrong. It may not have. But effectively, Selkirk has said, what's the deal? We've been sponsoring PPA for years. We've been sponsoring the sport of pickleball for years, and I can attest that they have. But you seem to have picked a favorite here and given them the advantage of having their powerful paddle in tournaments before any of us knew you had standards released. So they questioned that. And it was basically a letter that was dumped to a podcast, kind of letters that Selkirk sent to the UPA that somebody leaked. So they sent that. That was the gist of the argument. Another gist of the argument is UPA also hired or created and UPA, by the way, is a for-profit organization. And yet they're trying to standardize things and run things and almost take over from USAPA. They also created their own testing organization, again, that did not come out with what they are exactly testing for or the limits that you can go up to. And also Selkirk came out really strong about how there's kind of no engineering background to that organization, including not just the CEO of the organization, who's a business guy, but even the people that are doing the testing. And they watched some of the testing and saw it, and they felt these people were totally unqualified to be doing it. They actually didn't properly qualify their equipment before testing, which typically has to be done, especially when you're moving from one city to another and things along that line. And finally, then Selkirk also said, we do not think the testing and the certification should be in the hands of a for-profit company that possibly could be bought, or at least some company like maybe EULA in their pocket. The speculation was maybe they were doing EULA a favor because of the past, but who knows? I don't know. Selkirk is one of the companies on the standards board for UPA. So is EULA, so is 6.0, and there are a few others. But yet, even those companies on the standards board were not aware of the new standards. They also complained about the cost to standardize paddles, and I think this was really valid. They effectively, I'm not going to get into all the weeds about how much, but effectively $100,000 a year or so to be in the equation and on the board and getting your paddle certified. Selkirk's thing was, well, that stifles competition completely. We can afford it, but lots of companies can't, and lots of players are playing paddles from companies that couldn't afford it. So effectively, you're saying the pros can only play with paddles from companies that can fork up $100,000. And they thought their claim was that stifles all levels of competition. So good on them for saying that. So I read everything that Selkirk said. It sounded valid. We have not had any kind of response at this point, or at least at the point of me recording, from UPA. So we'll see what's yet to be seen. But I think good on Selkirk for saying probably what a lot of the smaller companies are feeling. Oh, and also Selkirk said basically if UPA doesn't back off from this, they're just going to not worry about standards and pull out a PPA altogether. Now, they're a big sponsor of PPA. So that's putting out the stick a little bit there too. So yet to see what happens. It's been a big story this week, and it's the last story for us this week, with the exception of what's up with me right now. This is purely on a personal level. For those of you who know me now, know my wife has Alzheimer's. She's been in a hospital for now 18 months, but not in long-term care. But we just got approved for her to go into long-term care. The paperwork's done. The selections are done. It's just a matter of them pulling the trigger now at this point, and they think that's about a month away. So that's good news. It also means I've done everything I can on my end to get my Bonnie ready for that. And I had booked a standby cruise way back in April that goes away this weekend. And with that not having been done, I was quite worried that even if I did get accepted for the cruise, I wouldn't go, because I had to be here the moment they were ready to do this long-term care, all the paperwork and everything else. Fortunately, that all happened last week and it's done. And fortunately also for me, I was put off the standby and confirmed for the cruise this Saturday. So today being Wednesday evening, I'm going to scramble now. I have my flights all arranged. The cruise is on Holland America. It's a really, I think, an exciting cruise. They have pickleball on the ship. I am feeling much better. I don't think it's quite a full-size court, and I don't expect it'll be very competitive. And also my physio says I am ready to start, taking it easy, but playing a little bit. He had me I'm doing dinking drills in my own garage the other day. So I'm going to take a paddle and I'm going to play. And we'll see how it goes. I also have a bunch of physio exercises to do. But this means I will not be doing a podcast using our normal platform next week from the cruise ship, but I will upload a video and put it out as a podcast. Might be from the pickleball court on this Holland America Volendam cruise ship. It's one of their older cruise ships, but a real classic. And this cruise is I'm excited about this. This is going from Montreal, Quebec, all along the St. Lawrence River, with stops at a number of places. Then it goes over to Newfoundland and completely circumnavigates Newfoundland. I've been to St. John's, Newfoundland. I've never been any other place. And Newfoundland is a very, very big province in Canada. And a lot of places to go, but they are separated by, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles. So I love the idea of taking the cruise around and stopping at all these various places and getting to see it all and getting off, but not having to do all that driving and really seeing Newfoundland. And I might even get out to play pickleball when I'm in St. John's. I know the club there. I don't know about any other clubs in Newfoundland. If anybody can mention any, let me know. But I know the East Coast Rock Pickleball Club in St. John's. I know where they are. I know some of the people. So I might be able to get over there. And it's an exciting cruise. However, it doesn't just end in Newfoundland. It continues then down to Halifax. Again, lots of side cruises, side locations you can go to, or side excursions. And then continues to Portland, Maine. I've never been to Portland, and you can do excursions to Kennebunkport if you want. I've never been there. I've heard great things about Kennebunkport, but I also would love to see Portland. I've never been. And then it finishes in Boston. Now, Boston I've been to many times, so I'm not going to stay in Boston. I'm just going to be flying home at that point. So all told, it's a 10-day cruise, and I will be back around September 11th. Number one son is holding the fort down here. Mark is taking care of things at the club. I don't take care of things at the club. I just am a member. And again, we'll get a podcast out next week, but it'll probably be simply a video showing you around a cruise ship and showing you the pickleball on this particular cruise ship. Now, this being an older one, it has one court. Some of the others have much more newer, bigger facilities as well. But I'm looking forward to seeing it. So that said, I hope you like what we've had today. It's a brief one, but want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Feel free to sign up for our giveaways at pickleballtoday.co/win. And you probably have at least a 1 out of 100 chance or 1 out of 200 chance. But the more activities you do, like commenting, sharing, and liking and things like that on any podcast platform we're on, and or on YouTube, on our YouTube channel for Pickleball Today, that will give you more opportunities. So we're looking forward to giving away another paddle, and that will be done the week I get back, so I can ship it out right away. So the contest, I can't remember if it ends on the 11th, 12th, or 13th, but in that time frame, and I'll get that shipped out to the winner the week I get home. That said, Pat Batty here, Pickleball Today. I'll see you again in a week with a video from the ship, and hope you have a wonderful week and manage to get out and play. All the best. Bye-bye.
You've been listening listening to Pickleball Today, the podcast version of Pickleball Today, Canada's national pickleball news source. Pickleball, obviously, is our passion. And no matter what it is, if it's happening in pickleball in Canada, we're your premier source to bring it all to you. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. Find our website at pickleballtoday.co. On Facebook at PCKLBallToday. On Instagram at pickleball_today. On YouTube at Pickleball Today Canada. And on Twitter at Pickleball Today. See you next time.